Why is it that in almost every relationship, you're careful, considerate, constantly watching your words, afraid of saying the wrong thing, afraid of upsetting someone? And yet the more polite you are, the smaller your place in the relationship seems to become? Why do you keep choosing understanding over resistance, compromise over clarity, using politeness to avoid conflict, using a smile to keep the peace, only to realize that people keep asking for more while your own space slowly disappears? And why is it that when you've already given enough kindness and respect, but still don't receive the same in return, you don't question the relationship? You question yourself? You wonder if you're not considerate enough, not mature enough, not good enough with people. If any of this feels familiar, then today's conversation is not about telling you to be rude, cold, aggressive, or difficult to deal with. We're not here to say that politeness is wrong. What we're here to look at is something far less discussed, but deeply common. When politeness is overused, is it really helping you build connection, or is it quietly weakening your boundaries and your position? And why, in many relationships, learning not to be overly polite is often the first moment real respect begins. There's a social rule most people never question. If I'm polite enough, things will go more smoothly. So you become careful everywhere you go. You apologize before you speak, thank people before they help, soften every request, double-check your words, even when you're asking for something completely reasonable. You tell yourself this is maturity, courtesy, good character, but reality often responds in the opposite way. You start to notice that the more gentle and accommodating you are, the easier it becomes for people to delay you, dismiss you, or treat your needs as optional. Your requests don't feel urgent to them. They don't feel necessary. They sound more like suggestions, things that can be postponed, ignored, or forgotten. The problem isn't politeness itself. The problem is this: when politeness loses its boundaries, it also loses its weight. In real social interactions, people don't automatically respect you because you're nice. What they pay attention to is something subtler. Do you seem clear about your own position, and do you behave as if being ignored is acceptable? When politeness turns into constant self-shrinking, the message it sends is no longer kindness. It's hesitation, retreat, and uncertainty. At that point, you're not strengthening the relationship. You're quietly reducing your presence within it, and that leads to an uncomfortable truth. It's not that you aren't friendly enough. It's that you've made it too easy for others to overlook you without feeling uncomfortable about it. In every social interaction, people are unconsciously answering one question: who needs whom more here? This judgment has very little to do with titles, income, or formal roles. It's made through subtle cues: tone, pacing, word choice, posture. When you constantly use overly polite language, apologizing in advance, softening your words, asking for reassurance, checking whether you're allowed to ask, you're sending a very clear signal. I'm not fully sure I'm entitled to this. This isn't humility. It's a signal of low position. From a psychological standpoint, the human brain automatically interprets low position signals as less urgent, less important, easier to postpone, safer to ignore. Not because others are intentionally trying to take advantage of you, but because your communication has already done the sorting for them. This is why the exact same sentence can sound like a clear request when one person says it, and like a favor being asked when another person says it. Language is not just a tool for communication, it's also a marker of social position. When every sentence you speak reduces your certainty, others naturally reduce the priority they give you. They're not disrespecting you as a person, they're simply responding to the signals you've offered, placing you in a position that doesn't require immediate attention. This may sound uncomfortable, but it's one of the most consistent patterns in real-world social dynamics. Many people become overly polite in relationships not because they lack social awareness, but because they're operating under a hidden belief. If I'm kind enough, considerate enough, easy enough to be around, then I'll be worth keeping. In psychology, this is known as conditional self-worth. The idea that your value isn't inherent, but something you must continuously earn through effort, accommodation, and sacrifice. So you begin to give more than you should. You avoid expressing discomfort. You don't say no. You explain away other people's behavior. When someone is late, you understand. When someone is distant, you tell yourself it's fine. When someone gives you less, you compensate by giving more. You trade kindness for the feeling that the relationship is still secure. But here's the problem. When a relationship depends on your constant effort to exist, your effort quickly loses its value. Not because the other person is malicious, but because of a basic psychological mechanism. Consistent, unconditional behavior gets mentally categorized as normal. The more reliable your kindness becomes, the less noticeable it feels. Your boundaries blur. Your refusals become harder. Your contributions start to feel expected. This is the paradox of people-pleasing relationships. The more generous you are, the less balanced the relationship becomes, because the relationship is no longer built on mutual respect, but on your willingness to lower your own cost again and again. And over time, what began as kindness quietly turns into invisibility. Most people who struggle with over-politeness are not unaware of the problem. They already know it makes them tired, overlooked, and quietly taken advantage of. The real difficulty is not understanding, it's changing. Because beneath politeness, there's often a much deeper fear at work. The fear of losing the relationship. Inside, you're constantly weighing two risks, being ignored or being abandoned. And for many people, abandonment feels far more dangerous. If early experiences taught you that expressing discomfort leads to distance, standing your ground leads to rejection, and being easy keeps people close, then your nervous system learned a rule. It's safer to shrink yourself than to risk losing connection. So you hesitate to say no. You worry people will think you've changed. You fear being labeled difficult or cold. You imagine relationships fading if you stop accommodating. On a psychological level, over-politeness becomes a survival strategy, not weakness, but protection. It's the price you pay to keep relationships feeling stable. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Any relationship that requires you to sacrifice your boundaries in order to exist is already unstable. You don't lack the ability to set boundaries. Your mind has simply misclassified change as danger. And real growth begins when you slowly correct that judgment, when your system learns that honesty does not equal abandonment. Many people spend their lives misunderstanding politeness. They treat it like a transaction. If I'm kind enough, you'll treat me well. If I make you comfortable, the relationship will last. But reality tells a different story. The most stable relationships are not sustained by constant accommodation. When you look back at the connections that left you drained, overlooked, or small, you'll often find they didn't collapse from conflict. They slowly tilted out of balance after too many quiet concessions. You weren't lacking kindness, and you weren't lacking character. You simply used politeness as a form of self-erasure. Healthy politeness works differently. It's not about lowering yourself, softening endlessly, or proving your worth through restraint. It's built on a quiet assumption. I respect you, and I respect myself as well. When you stop using over-politeness to earn your place, something subtle changes. Not everyone moves closer to you, but the people who truly respect you become clearer. And those who relied on your silence begin to drift away. This isn't relationships becoming colder. It's relationships becoming honest. Because connection was never about who could endure more. It was about who could stay without asking the other person to disappear. When you stop explaining excessively, stop smiling through discomfort, and stop shrinking to avoid tension, your relationships don't weaken. They finally become real. This is Felix. May you understand yourself a little deeper and treat the growing version of you with patience and care. See you next time.